The board will now come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Cone. Alderman Narayan. Alderman Balmer. Alderwoman Velazquez. Alderwoman Sanye.
Present.
Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Browning. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys. Alderwoman Tyus.
Present. Thank you, baby.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Present.
Alderman Aldridge. President Green.
Present.
Alderman Narayan. Alderwoman Keys. 13 present. You have quorum.
A quorum being present, we will be led in opening reflection by the Executive Director of the Down Syndrome Association of Greater St. Louis, Erin Suhlman, and her brother Andrew.
Good morning, esteemed ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be able to open your board meeting today. My name is Erin Suhlman, and I'm the Executive Director of the Down Syndrome Association of Greater St. Louis. The DSA-GSL is a 48-year-old organization that was started by a small group of mothers in 1976, determined to create a better life for their children. In 1976, the ADA had not yet been passed. People with disabilities were being excluded from most community activities, or even worse, institutionalized. Our founding mothers, as well as a growing group of disability advocates, helped pave the way for better health care, inclusive education, and fundamental human rights for people with disabilities. Today, the DSA serves 2,200 individuals with Down syndrome, including my brother Andrew, who's with me today. We serve all of eastern Missouri and southern Illinois, including over 100 families that live in St. Louis City, your constituents. Our vision is an inclusive community in which people with Down syndrome can reach their full potential. We will see our vision through investment in education, support, and advocacy for those with disabilities. The DSA-GSL is the only organization in the region solely dedicated to serving the Down syndrome community from birth through end of life. October is Down Syndrome Awareness Month. I believe I was asked to speak to you all today to provide some education about our organization and also about Down syndrome. At the most scientific level, Down syndrome occurs when a baby is born with a third copy of the 21st chromosome. It is one of the few chromosomal conditions with which a fetus can live to term, and babies can grow into adults that live full, happy, and productive lives. In the 1980s, the life expectancy of someone with Down syndrome was only 25. Today, it's 60. People with Down syndrome are attending school, working, and getting married. We have made so many great strides over the last 50 years for people with disabilities, but there is still so much work to be done. There are still state and federal policies that keep people with disabilities living in poverty in order to access their Medicaid. People with Down syndrome in this region suffer from a detrimental lack of quality health care as they age. For instance, did you know that over half of people with Down syndrome will also have Alzheimer's disease by the time they turn 60 years old? Though discussions about inclusion and equity are forefront today, which is a wonderful thing, people with disabilities are still often left out of these conversations. As lawmakers, I encourage and urge you to keep in the front of your minds how policies, procedures, and the future of the region not only include but welcome people with disabilities. Continue reaching out to organizations like my own as partners and experts, and include the voices of people with disabilities when writing and approving new laws. I'd like to give my brother Andrew a minute to talk about himself and what he hopes for his future.
Hello, my name is Andrew. I am 38 years old. I have worked in the community for over 15 years. I date Texas. I vote. I bring joy to my friends and family. I am looking for a new job. I want to make money. And I want same thing once you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. And so what Andrew expressed is that he pays taxes, he votes, and he wants the same thing you all want. Thank you so much again for your time this morning. It was truly an honor. Thank you for inviting me and for opening your hearts and minds to our community. Thank you so much for all the work you do for the citizens of the city and for your tireless efforts to make the region the best it can be. I hope to work with you all in the future. I would welcome further conversations and educational opportunities. The Down Syndrome Association is launching an exhibition featuring the stories and photos of community members with Down syndrome. We would love to partner with the city to host this exhibit to raise awareness about the lives of people with Down syndrome. People with Down syndrome, like us all, want and need to belong. Together, we can create a city where that is possible. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We will dispense with line item 4, any introduction of honored guests. Alderman from the 3rd.
Hello, thank you. Thank you, Madam President. I would like to give another round of applause to our special speaker this morning and bringing awareness to Down syndrome awareness. I'm not sure how many folks know, but I actually have some family members with Down syndrome. My cousin, Lindsay, and then in my extended family, my Uncle John. My Uncle John, as he's affectionately referred to, passed away a few years ago. When he was born almost 60 years ago, people were telling him, doctors and other professionals, that he wouldn't see past his 30th birthday. And with the love and support of family, he made it several decades past that. And I miss him dearly at family functions. He and I used to sing a very wicked rendition of Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash. And my cousin Lindsay has been employed for quite a long time as a candy striper and other professions as well. And her sister and brother, mom and dad, and all of her cousins love her very, very much. And so I'm so grateful that we had both of our wonderful speakers this morning welcoming us into today's session. I would also like to welcome as my special honored guest this morning, Girl Scout Troop 733, who are up in the gallery this morning. I had the privilege of giving them a tour of City Hall and also showing them the mayor's office and Madam President's office. Thank you for graciously opening up your door to them this morning and talking about the very important issues facing our city and answering some very topical questions from them. And so I would love to have them all today as my honored guests. And thank you so much for being here this morning.
Alderman from the 14th.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I would like to have, as my honor guest, we have a lot of friends from out state that is in town today, learning about vacancies in our city, but throughout the whole nation. I know some of them will be watching, and I just wanted to make that convention and all the individuals that are here feel special. As well as I would like to have Mr. Austin Hugler, that has been gone for a while, back at the board as my special guest. Thank you, Madam President.
Alderwoman from the 10th.
Members of the Board. Trying to make sure I'm on. Okay, thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I have to stand up and second the warm welcome to the ladies, the young ladies from Troop 733. It was my honor to also speak with them as a former Girl Scout here today, the day after International Day of the Girl, for them to be able to be here and interface and talk with us, and as Alderman Cone said, ask some tough questions and some good, easy questions too, and have a good time. And I was also able to share with them about my grandmother, my beloved grandmother, who was the first Black leader in the city of St. Louis, in North St. Louis, and All Saints Episcopal Church for Girl Scouts, and the decades and the generations of girls that came up under her. Sally Simmons, it's just my honor to be here to welcome and feel like I'm making her proud, for you all to be able to look down and see yourself, right, in us. So thank you all for being here, and I would be remiss again if I didn't mention about International Day of the Girl yesterday. Is so much girl power. Nothing against our guys, because we know we need them, but it's girls' time right now. And also to shout out our pink that we have on today in honor of our Breast Cancer Month, breast cancer survivors, especially our very own Miss Aura Higgs.
Yeah.
Alderman from the second. Alderman from the second.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, I would like to have as my special guest today, Second Ward constituent, Boulevard Heights neighborhood enthusiast, Bill Lieberman is in the gallery today. Thank you, Bill.
Alderwoman from the 8th.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I'd like to have as my special guest today, former Alderman Dan Gunther, who is joining us down here as the esteemed new legislative assistant for the 8th Ward. Thank you, Dan.
A further introduction of honored guests. Seeing none, anyone who would like to get a picture with Aaron and Andrew, if you could please come over to the dais and we'll get that picture done.
If there's a place you gotta go.
I want a picture with former alderman.
You still can do it, Alderman.
Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized on the approval of the minutes from Friday, October 4th, 2024.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we approve the minutes from Friday, October 4th, 2024.
Moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we approve the minutes from Friday, October 4th, 2024. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Report of city officials.
Report of city officials can be found in A, B, and C of the agenda and has been placed in the Google Drive for your review. Dear members of the board, I have the pleasure to submit the following individuals for appointment to the Soulard Special Business District: the appointment of Robert Kyle Linzen and the reappointment of Mr. William Tomber. I respectfully request your approval of this appointment. Sincerely, to Shara O. Jones, Mayor.
Alderwoman from the 8th, you are recognized on Mayor Jones' appointments to the Soulard Special Business District.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we approve the mayor's appointments to Soulard Special Business District.
Been moved by the Alderwoman from the 8th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th. We approve Mayor Jones' appointments to the Soulard Special Business District. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That's the extent of report of special, I'm sorry. What is this? Report of city officials.
Does anyone wish to take any bills or resolutions off of any of our informal calendar? Alderwoman from the 6th.
Can I please, Madam President, I move to reconsider the perfection vote for Board Bill number 68 and send it back to the perfection calendar.
First, we have to put it on. You need to ask to take it off that calendar, and then once we get to third reading, we motion to reconsider.
Should I do that now or wait till the...
So right now, you need to just ask to take it off of the informal calendar and put it on the regular third reading.
It's on the third read.
It's not on.
It's on the third read calendar.
Oh, it is on third reading? Okay. Then hold on that, because we're on informal calendar.
Right.
Okay. Sorry for that confusion. Anyone wish to take any bills or resolutions off any of our informal calendars? Seeing none, first reading of board bills.
We have none.
We can dispense with line item 12. Reference to committee of board bills.
We have none.
We can dispense with line item 13. Second reading and report of standing committees.
We have none.
Report of special committees.
We have none.
Board bills for perfection consent.
Board Bill 103, sponsored by Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, Alderwoman Velazquez, and Alderwoman Sanye. An ordinance repealing Chapter 8.22 of the Revised Code of the City of St. Louis to eliminating certain regulations of barbershops. Board Bill 106, sponsored by Alderman Oldenburg, Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, and Alderman Narayan. This board bill proposes an ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment authorizing the Police Commissioner on behalf of the City of St. Louis to enter into and execute a grant agreement with the Missouri Department of Public Safety Project Safe Neighborhoods 2021 program to fund the training of officers in the gang task force, as well as supplies for the unit and equipment containing a severability clause and an emergency clause. That's the extent of board bills for perfection consent calendar.
Madam Clerk, if you could please make sure I'm a co-sponsor in 103.
So noted.
Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized on the motion to adopt the board bills for the perfection consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, I move that we adopt the board bills for perfection consent calendar.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderman from the 9th, that we adopt the board bills for the perfection consent calendar. Is there any discussion? Alderman from the 14th.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, I also like to be added as a co-sponsor to 103.
Madam Clerk, please make note of that.
So noted.
Again, it's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderperson from the 9th, that we adopt the board bills for the perfection consent calendar. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Board bills for perfection.
Board Bill 105, sponsored by Alderwoman Boyd, Alderman Oldenburg, Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, Alderman Narayan, Alderwoman Velazquez, Alderwoman Sanye, and Alderman Aldridge. An ordinance updated ordinance number 71820, which pertains to the illegal discharge of firearms, to change the term weapon to firearm, change criminal negligence to recklessly, and updating exceptions to the prohibition containing an emergency clause.
Alderwoman from the 13th, you are recognized on the perfection of Board Bill 105.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm asking for support of Board Bill 105.
Would you like to make a motion to perfect Board Bill 105?
I surely would. I'd like to make a motion to perfect Board Bill 105.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 13th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 10th, that we perfect Board Bill number 105. Alderwoman, you may proceed.
This board bill has been amended due to the signing of the bill from Jefferson City by Governor Parson. So we had to make some changes to it to accommodate the bill that was signed off by the governor. We had previously submitted this bill, and so we had to come back to make some changes to accommodate their changes that they had.
Any further discussion? Alderwoman from the 12th.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. If the Alderwoman from the 13th would yield.
The
Yes.
Alderwoman from the 13th yield to questioning from the Alderwoman from the 12th.
Yes.
Alderwoman, you may proceed.
Alderwoman, first of all, I'm glad to see this bill, mostly because the people in Jeff City ought to be ashamed of themselves for why we have all this gunfire in the city of St. Louis in the first place. Because since I've been here in 1991, we have always begged them to leave us out, us being the city of St. Louis, out of expanding the use of guns and who could have it. And up until we got Republican governors, that was respected. Actually, when I was elected, the state was all Democrat. And when I say that, the governor, the lieutenant governors, almost all a majority of the state senators, majority of the state reps, but that changed over time. And I believe under Matt Blunt, Governor Blunt, is when we were allowed a lot of weapons into our community that have no business being in the hands of the people that they are. Saying all of this is saying all of that. This is a good bill, but I do have a question that I question why it's an exception, and it's on page 2 of 3. It talks about the exceptions of which you can have discharged a firearm, and the first thing says 8 indoors, and that surprises me because I'm a landlord, tell people that all the time. We had an occurrence in which a tenant discharged a weapon inside of one of his apartments, and actually he kept shooting, and it went through the floor into another apartment, and it's there by the grace of God that somebody didn't get killed. So I didn't know why we were exempting out indoors. If that was something I tried to read I read the state statute. I couldn't find it as an exemption unless it's something new that was added. But I didn't know why we were doing it, because sometimes people, besides shooting off firearms out in the outdoors, they do it on the indoors too now. So.
And you're perfectly right, and I apologize because I don't have that in front of me, but that's not making sense to me either. Because it should be where anybody that discharges a firearm recklessly should be not held accountable for that. And so you're correct, Alderwoman.
Okay. So just want to say, I kind of can't, I'm not going to be a present vote because of that. I think we need to see if we really need to exempt that out in our city. That's what I'm saying. And the other thing is D, it reads supervised by any person 18 years of age or older. So, and again, might be just the people in Jefferson City. Just because you're 18 years of older doesn't mean you're the kind of person that should be supervising somebody discharging a firearm. You could be I'm gonna use the Democratic term, weird person. Thank you, Vice President, soon to be Waltz. That you could be a weird person that has no business supervising anybody. And so I was just kind of let down that we didn't have some qualifications of who you could have to supervise someone who's discharging a gun. If you're 18 years of age, you're almost still a child yourself. But if you at least have been trained to discharge a firearm, because if you're in high school and you're 17 or 16 and your friend is 18, under this law, they can supervise you and discharge a firearm. So I think that those two exceptions are big loopholes. And I don't know, again, I read 57.1.030, and I didn't see that they had to be an exception. And I'm not saying you need to stop this. I'm going to be a present, because I think we need to really look at, do we really want to let people who are 18 years or older supervise somebody without some kind of training? And I most certainly do not agree with people should be able to discharge guns indoors, because somebody can get hurt. They could be in the hallway, that's indoors. They could be shooting down the hallway. So I think it has to be some more restrictions than that. Thank you.
And thank you for your insight, because I can always count on you to be in detail in reading the bill. And so I don't have a problem with revisit. In regards to the 17-year-old, I'm thinking, and I could be wrong, that they're looking at people that's going into the service. And so that's what I'm thinking that is. Now, like I said, I can be wrong, but I can do the research to relook at those two issues.
Well, it doesn't say that, because in certain things like about the exceptions for police officers or retiring, it goes into detail who can still have that ability to have guns and on and on. But this is just kind of an open loophole. And I've just found in my career, if you leave an open loophole, they will drive through it, shoot through it, pun intended. That's something as tight as the city of St. Louis can. We need to tighten up our gun laws. We are always have an overseer in Jefferson City, but where we can, if we have a way to do it, I think we should tighten our gun laws up as tight as possible. So I will still do research, and you all can go and pass this, but I would ask that you consider, if you're going to vote on it today and pass it along to, and it's this perfection, that if we come up with something else, you consider being a person who voted on the prevailing issue to then reconsider and put it back to perfection so we can change it. I'm just saying that I think we can make it better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Alderman from the 14th.
Thank you, Madam Clerk and members of the committee. I will say that actually the Alderwoman from the 12th is right when it comes to that language around supervision, which was interesting in that. However, I will also say when it comes to the exceptions that she's asking about, that language is taken directly from the actual bill that Representative Mark Sharp had filed on the House side. One thing that I appreciate about this language, because some of it is a little different from the state language, is the state has harsher penalties when it comes to a firearm being discharged. I know under this bill, it's not as harsh. I think it would become a misdemeanor. And then some of the funds from this piece of legislation would actually go to the Office of Violence Prevention to try to use preventative methods instead of being like tougher on crime, preventative methods to try to ensure that some of these young people or whoever is discharging a firearm are actually not just getting, I'll just say being tough on crime. So I know these are two different things that are different from the state bill, is not necessarily as harsh penalties, as well as some of those funds would be going to the Office of Violence Prevention, which Ms. Casey Millbrook had talked about in the Public Safety Committee.
Any further discussion? Alderwoman from the 12th.
Madam President, members of the board, if the Alderman from the 14th would yield.
The Alderman from the 14th yield to questioning from the Alderwoman from the 12th.
Absolutely.
Alderwoman, you may proceed.
Thank you. Alderman, so you say that the exemption language is what was put in the bill that was sponsored by, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear who you said sponsored that bill.
Yes, it was sponsored by Representative Mark Sharp of the Kansas City area.
Mark Sharp?
Mark Sharp, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you would happen to know, did that actually, is that part of what was actually signed by the governor?
Yes, ma'am. So, and
sponsored?
I cut you off, go ahead.
Because I know sometimes in Jeff City they do compromise with the Senate or the House bill or whatever. So is that the actual language that was signed by the governor? And if so, do you know what the citation for that is?
It was signed by the governor. I can pull up the citation and send it to you to the email. I actually have it right. It's 571.031 of the revised Missouri Code. So that's where you will find that exemption part that was in the legislation. And in this legislation, originally when Mark signed, or Representative Sharp signed it, which we came in together in 2019, it changed a little bit. And even the last version that was signed by the governor changed. That's why the bill that's in front of us today isn't the same bill that Alderwoman from the 13th passed out last session.
So I actually did go to 571.030 to look for the exemption. I don't see a blanket exemption for indoor. And so that's what I'm trying to find out, just because Indoors could be any place. So I don't see that as a blanket exemption. I'll read it again. And as I said, the supervised by any person 18 years of or older is just asking for a teenager to have another teenager, because you're 18, you're still a teenager, supervised. And we're stricter with that about who can drive a car when you're getting your driver's license, who can be supervising you if you're driving a car. So we ought to be stricter with that if we can. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, if you could please add me as a co-sponsor to 105.
So noted.
Alderwoman from the 7th.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I just want to commend Alderwoman Boyd for her work on the piece of legislation and also request to be added as co-sponsor.
Madam Clerk, please make note of that.
She's already a sponsor.
Okay. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, it's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 13th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 10th, that we perfect Board Bill number 105. All those in favor,
Roll call.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Cone. Alderman Narayan. Alderman Balmer. Alderwoman Velazquez. Alderwoman Sanye. Look like it's an issue with the Alderman Browning. I'm sorry, Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Browning. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys. Alderwoman Tyus.
Present.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Aldridge. President Green.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan. Alderwoman Sanye.
Aye.
Alderwoman Keys. 12 aye votes and 1 voted present.
By your vote, you sustain the motion from the Alderwoman from the 13th to perfect Board Bill number 105.
That's the extent of board bills for perfection.
Report of engrossment.
Board Bill 37 as amended, 68, 84, 98, 99, 100, and 101.
Alderwoman from the 6th. We'll recognize you on your motion now.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to withdraw board.
Having voted on the prevailing side.
Thank you. Having voted on the prevailing side, I'd like to withdraw Board Bill 68.
You would like to make a motion to reconsider.
Thank you. Let me try this again. Madam President, having voting on the prevailing side, I move to reconsider the perfection vote for Board Bill 68 and send it back to the perfection calendar.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 6th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 8th, that we reconsider Board Bill number 68 and place it back on the regular perfection calendar. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Alderman Oldenburg.
Aye.
Alderman Cone.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan. Alderman Balmer. Alderwoman Velazquez.
Aye.
Alderwoman Sanye.
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Browning. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys. Alderwoman Tyus.
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Aldridge.
Aye.
President Green.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan. Alderwoman Spencer. Thank you. Alderwoman Keys. 13 aye votes.
By your vote, you sustain the motion from the Alderwoman from the 6th. If you could please place Board Bill number 68 back on the regular perfection calendar, and then we will take up the regular perfection calendar again.
So noted.
Alderwoman from the 6th, you are now recognized on the perfection of Board Bill 68.
Thank you, Madam President. With that, I would move to adopt amendment number 1 for Board Bill.
First, you need to make a motion to perfect, and then we'll do the amendment.
Thank you. I move to, Madam President, thank you. I move to perfect Board Bill 68.
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 6th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we perfect Board 68. Alderwoman, you may now proceed with your amendment.
Thank you. I move to adopt amendment number 1 to Board Bill 68.
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 6th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we adopt amendment number 1 to Board Bill number 68. Alderwoman, you may proceed.
Sure. Just if anybody really wants to know, we're just doing some cleanup. We missed one that was already a speed hump that was already in place, and then Streets made some recommendations on add after gone through committee, so those changes are reflected in this amendment. So with that, I ask that the board vote to fully adopt this amendment to Board Bill 68.
Is there any discussion on the amendment? Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Alderwoman, you are now recognized on the perfection of Board Bill 68 as amended.
Thank you. Actually, Madam President, I move to adopt amendment number 2 to Board Bill 68 as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 6th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we adopt amendment number 2 to Board Bill 68 as amended. Alderwoman, you may proceed.
Again, this reflects we're striking out the aforementioned speed humps on this block and adding the updated ones.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Alderwoman, do you have any more amendments?
No, that concludes my amendments, and this time, for real, I ask that fully adopt or fully pass Board Bill 68 as amended with these 2 amendments.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman
Perfected.
from the 6th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we perfect Board Bill number 68 as amended. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That's the extent of board bills for perfection.
Report of engrossment.
Board Bill 37 as amended, 84, 98, 99, 100, and 101.
Third reading and final passage of board bills consent.
Board Bill 37 as amended, 84, 98, 99, 100, and 101.
Alderwoman from the 10th, you're recognized in the motion to adopt the third reading and final passage of board bills on the consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we adopt the third reading and final passage of Board Bills consent calendar.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we adopt the third reading and final passage of board bills on the consent calendar. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Cone. Alderman Narayan. Alderman Valmer. Alderwoman Velazquez. Alderwoman Sanye.
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Browning. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys. Alderwoman Tyus.
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Aldridge.
Pass.
President Green.
Aye.
Alderman Cone. Alderman Narayan. Alderman Valmer. Alderwoman Keys. Alderman Aldridge. 13 aye votes.
By your vote, you sustain the motion of the Alderwoman from the 10th to third read and finally pass the aforementioned bills. Third reading and final passage of board bills.
We have none.
Can dispense with line item 18B. Report of the finally passed and signed by the President.
Board Bill 37 as amended, 84, 98, 99, 100, and Board Bill 101.
All other business being suspended, the President shall in open session affix her signature hereto to the end that these may become law. First reading resolutions in reference to committee.
We have none.
Second reading resolutions, committee reports and adoption.
We have none.
Courtesy resolutions.
We have none.
Miscellaneous and unfinished business.
We have none.
We can dispense with line items 20 through 23. Announcements.
Monday, October 14th, 2024, Town Hall meeting hosted by President Green and the following alderpersons: Alderwoman Velazquez, Alderman Browning, Alderman Aldridge, and Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. The address is 5574 Delmar at Grace and Peace Fellowship Church at 6 p.m. Tuesday, October 15th, 2024, HUDs will have a meeting in the Kennedy Room at 11 a.m. Legislation and Rules will have a hearing via webinar at 2 p.m. Thursday, October 17th, 2024. Personnel will have a meeting via webinar at 11 a.m. Friday, October 18th. Full board meeting in the chambers at 10 a.m. That's the extent of the announcements.
Any further announcements? Alderwoman from the 10th.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. You know, I have a lot, but I'm only a few here, and you can hear on my page after the meeting about the others. First, I want to make sure that I announce tomorrow is the once a month God's Cafe, serving food for the mind, body, and soul at Centennial Christian Church in the 10th Ward at 4950 Fountain Avenue, surrounding the beautiful Fountain Park. Please make sure if you want to send somebody or you can come yourself. This is an amazing experience with all kind of resources such as CPR classes, again, food, wellness. It's like a self-care, but they serve breakfast and for the families, family friendly as well. So again, God's Cafe tomorrow from 9 to 1 p.m. at Centennial Christian Church at 4950 Fountain. And then on Sunday is Booktoberfest. Books for Newborns is having their annual Booktoberfest at the Muni Culver Pavilion in Forest Park. It's beer, music, food. It's a great event. It's from 12 to 3. Again, this Sunday, Booktoberfest, and you can go to their page to get tickets.
Alderwoman from the 13th.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to announce that 13th Ward will have their last meeting, quarterly meeting for the year. It'll be at 4539 Emerson. And we'll have our Voter Empowerment Committee to give a report back to the community. And so we look forward to seeing this.
Any further announcements? Any further announcements? Alderman from the 14th.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Again, I would just like to announce, even though the Power 10 already stated it, the month of October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and want to give a shout out to Ms. Ora and many others who had breast cancer, including my mom, and end up beating it. So 1 in 8 women in the United States, I'll give that. 1 in 8 women in the United States will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. In 2024, there's an estimate of 300,720 women and 2,800 men will be diagnosed with breast cancer. However, there is always hope. Once you find out, please get regular checkups. Once you find out, due to science and medicine, there's a lot of ways and programs in just healthcare where you could be able to go to the doctor through care and treatment to be able to make sure that this cancer does not end up taking over. So please ultimately continue to get checked up for women and men, and let's continue to make sure in the month of October we continue to uplift the survivors that have beat breast cancer. Thank you.
Alderwoman from the 7th, sorry.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I just wanted to announce the youth swearing-in ceremony that will be on the 16th next week. There is a young person from the 7th who I'm very excited to see get sworn in, but I know many of us, selected and supported many nominations from different wards. So just to remind us that we will have a youth swearing-in ceremony for the Youth Council on the 16th at City Hall at 6 o'clock.
Thank you. Any further announcements? Alderwoman from the 1st.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I would like to announce that we will have a Public Infrastructure and Utilities Committee meeting Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. in the Kennedy Room. There's also tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. a cleanup of Carondelet Park meeting at the Boathouse. Thank you.
Any further announcements? Seeing none, Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized on the motion to excuse.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we excuse the Alderwoman from the 11th for necessary absence.
And the
Alderman from the 4th for necessary absence.
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderman from the 3rd, that we excuse the Alderpersons from the 4th and 11th for necessary absence. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized on the motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we adjourn until Friday, October 18th, 2024 in the Board of Aldermen chamber.
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderman from the 3rd, that we adjourn until Friday, October 18th, 2024 in the Board of Aldermen chambers. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. And if anybody who would like to take part in the breast cancer awareness picture, if you could please come over to the dais.